So I hear you want to get your first role in applied behavioral sciences. I get many messages from university students asking me about advice on how to get into this space. So today I have collected my best tips that I hope will maximize your chances of landing your first role. And I will also share with you one big mistake I have learned on my own skin, so you can avoid it. I'm Dan, I studied at UCL, worked in marketing, and for the last 3 years I have been working as a behavioral science consultant. Getting a role in applied behavioral sciences is very difficult. At its core, it's a supply-demand imbalance. More and more universities are offering degrees in applied behavioral sciences, not to mention adjacent degrees in psychology or consumer behavior. Let's get started. Number 1. Know the behavioral science basics. You want to have a good idea of how humans fall short of traditional economic theories, the ones that describing humans as rational, self-interest maximizing units. Instead, in reality, our decisions are limited by time, cognitive resource, and information. So rather than Spock from Star Trek, who always weighs up the pros and cons of every decision, in reality, we are more like Homer Simpson. We are tired, we are hungry, we might be moody, all clouding our decisions. Because of all these limitations, we have to rely on cognitive shortcuts to navigate our everyday lives. For example, social norm, loss aversion, temporal discounting, availability heuristic, decoy effect, and the list goes on. You need to know the most important ones and need to be able to apply in real-life scenarios. Then you also want to know how to apply frameworks to analyze human behavior, be it BMAP, COMBI, or the insulation theory. If you're studying the subject at university, you have it all covered. If not, that's not a problem too. There are more accessible information on the topic than ever. This channel is being one effort in this mix. So knowing this is the bare minimum, and in an interview, it's likely that you would be asked to apply some of these insights in a real-world scenario. Number 2, study insights gathering methods. Simply put, you want to demonstrate your ability to gather insights. This could involve desk research, literature reviews, conducting traditional research, either qualitative or quantitative, or data analysis using AI tools. For example, predictive eye tracking or emotional sentiment analysis. All of these methods show different pieces of the puzzle, and you want to have a good idea of the pros and cons and under which context you would want to use them. Unfortunately, in reality, you would need to also consider budgetary pressures and time limitations, and you would often need to justify what method you want to go with. For example, qualitative research, say semi-structured interviews, are excellent at understanding subjective experience and dive deep into the why behind the behavior, but they are not the best at predicting future behavior. Knowledge and expertise with insights gathering tools is vital, because this would be a large part of your role. Number 3, work on your communication skills. You may have a strong grasp of the behavioral science discipline, maybe even able to quote from academic papers, and also be excellent at conducting research using different methods. But if you cannot explain your approach, findings and recommendations in a concise and persuasive ways, then it will not have the impact it deserves. Communication is an interesting one, because we do it all the time. Yet, speaking in front of strangers or in public is one of the most consistent fear we have. This is also one of those things that comes with practice, and practice alone. If you are still at university, there is plenty of things you can do. For example, you can join a debate society. But even after university, there are plenty of trainings and ways you can practice your communication and public speaking skills. Personally, this is an area I also wanted to get better at. So I joined an organization called Toastmasters, where the focus is on giving longer speeches, evaluations, and impromptu speaking. And I can wholeheartedly recommend it. If you are watching because you want to break into the industry, I have put together a free guide detailing my best tips. The link is in the description, and missing out on it would be as irrational as it gets. Number 4, find projects to work on. The reality of the job is working on projects. Initially, as a junior member of a team, you would be responsible for overseeing smaller parts of a project. And as you are becoming more senior, you might be overseeing the entire project. This involves a variety of skills. Project work has a few important elements. On the one hand, you want to look after the team, make sure that everything is on time and everybody is on track. On the other hand, you want to liaise with the client and keep them up to date and answer any questions. Showcasing experience in this area could be very beneficial. Thankfully, at university, there are plenty of ways to work on academic or business projects. Often, universities have a consulting society filled with people who want to get a job in management consulting. Join it and work on a real project. This will be something that you can talk about at your interview. Number 5. Be curious. You need to genuinely care about why people do what they do and why people don't do what they should do. You want to be fascinated by the gap between how people should behave and how people actually behave. This is essential because this is pretty much the job. Every day, you are on a quest to figure out the why. To be able to demonstrate it, I would recommend a system of continuous learning. It is a simple yet powerful idea. Put aside time every week for learning. Read books like Nudge, Evolutionary Ideas or Installation Theory, and blogs like Behaves or the BITs. And you can also subscribe to newsletters. This will widen your horizon and also expose you to new ideas as they emerge. Number 6. Be comfortable with data. You do not need to be a data scientist unless you want to be a behavioral scientist at a bank. But showing that you can work with data will definitely give you an edge. Think of Excel, R, or Python. There are endless courses out there where you can develop in these. Even if you master these 6 areas, the odds are not great. So my ultimate recommendation is not to limit yourself to roles that have behavioral sciences in the title. Think more broadly. The civil service and consulting, or roles with research or project management elements, are all great ways to acquire critical skills. 1 to 3 years at a different role can go quickly and can help you get to your dream job. In my case, this is exactly what happened. After 2 years in digital advertising, I found my current role. So this is how you can land your first role in applied behavioral sciences. And if you are serious about it, download my free guide, linked in the description. And if you want more applied behavioral science in your feed, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Stay curious and keep making your choices count. See you in the next one.